Camden, sit next to me. Oh, sit next to me. Oh, Camden, sit next to me. Righto.
Let's do this thing.
Hi everyone. Good, konnichiwa.
Guten Tag.
Hello. Oh, that was almost hello.
Hello.
Hello. Now we have a plan.
Aloha.
We have a plan. It's been suggested that we have a plan.
We've got a plan. Welcome to Old Men Yakking.
Old man.
Episode 2. Episode 2. Woo, we've made it.
We'll try and make it just one part this time.
Who knows? I don't know.
Is that the plan?
Well, let's try. If we do 2 parts, let's end on a cliffhanger. That brings them back for the next episode. What do you
Are
think?
you saying that the first one we didn't end on a cliffhanger?
Oh, it was a cliffhanger.
I liked all the spelling mistakes and the grammatical mistakes in the Star Wars thing.
Oh, it was quickly typed while I was.
I was obvious,
Yeah.
but it was a great idea. Just so
Was
you
it?
know.
Did you like that?
I like Star Wars.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just thought, if people are listening to it, they will never see this.
Oh well, it was good. It was good.
That's right. Because the audio was seamless, but the video just cut out. So what we'll achieve this today is that the video won't cut out before the end of our episode.
That would be good. Well,
Steve, go. I was going to say, what's been happening in your world?
you said go. What's been happening in my world? Gathering of information. Was involved in the Freedom March on Saturday.
Yeah, how did that go?
Well, it went good. It's the second one I've actually attended. I've been to 3, but my back was pretty bad on the first one, so I actually rocked up and then realised I wasn't going to be walking, so I went home.
Good turnout
But
this time?
the last 2, I've actually been providing the PA.
Okay.
So everyone walks to the amphitheatre, and then we'll gather around and have a bit of a chat there. And so I don't think it was as big a crowd as the last one. I think I personally think they're a little bit too close together. But then again, this is not exactly a trivial thing that's going on. So we obviously need to keep our presence felt, and that you know.
We've got to keep our social distancing between the meetings.
This is an optical illusion. This is actually 1 meter here. From here to here is 1 meter, and so it's just an optical illusion from the. See, if I go like that, I won't hit him in the head. See, it's
miles
although
away.
I could.
It's miles away.
So we have a plan. We've had some feedback. We won't mention who they are,
A little bit of feedback.
but thank you. So we have a plan today. We've got it laid out here on the table.
Yeah, that's right. No blueberries today. What we got?
No. We're sponsored by tomatoes. I can't even see that.
Can't even read that.
Is that upside down?
It says cherry tomatoes
There you go. We're sponsored by Cherry Tomatoes, Martini Studios.
from Oak Valley. Yeah, Martini.
Oh, from Oak Valley, yeah. I buy my I try to, especially when I go over to Fairfield, just over here. There's a produce place there that supports local farms and stuff. So
That's a good plug.
yeah, so it's right near Coles as you walk in on the left hand side. There's a
That
produce
place. Yeah, really nice.
So if you can buy you're going to pay a little bit more sometimes. That's it's understandable. You're up against Coles and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but you're getting local produce, and you're helping out the local farmers and stuff. So yeah, that's a good thing.
So how's your week been, mate? I've noticed that your Facebook posts have been about stuff that's going on in the world.
So, well, like every other Facebook post that I put on.
Yeah,
Well, actually, I've been doing my best to cut back on the way that I put my posts. I had a friend contact me the other day, and he said, "Steve," he said, "you're a good mate. We're always going to be friends." He said, "But when you keep putting things up where I'm calling people sheep and stuff like that, it's a bit derogatory." And I had to have a bit of a think about that. And as much as I do believe that the majority of the world are just like sheep following the fact that I call people sheep and is probably not going to really help win people over.
Yeah, it's like the other side calling anti-vaxxers people who don't.
Or people who are not anti-vaxxers, anti-vaxxers.
Vaxxers, that's right. Yeah.
So it doesn't. Yeah, you just get angry straight away. So you don't listen.
Let's not name call.
So no, that's right. So Adam, thanks for that. I appreciate it. And lo and behold, I haven't seen Adam for a long time, and then we have this little interaction on Facebook. And just the other night, when I was setting up for my Duo Maximum Overdrive, there's Adam. So that was cool. So thanks for that, mate. It's sometimes you need to be brought back into your place gently.
Mm-hmm.
That works for me. And so I had a bit of a think about that one. So
you can keep teaching old dog.
No more
tricks.
calling people sheep, but bah.
Well, I thought.
And we have a plan for today.
The plan today. This is what I thought. That we would definitely talk about vaccines today.
Are we even allowed to say that word, or are we going to stay on the...
Who knows?
Are we going to get evicted?
We didn't last time, so... but I wanted to talk about not so much getting the vaccine or not getting the vaccine. I really wanted to talk about the social interaction that's happening that's dividing people who are getting the vaccine and not getting the vaccine. Even friends and family are being divided because someone may choose not to get the vaccine or to get the vaccine. And I would like to discuss with you today that side of it. Like, why has society gone to this extreme where it's almost like the government's trying to make an apartheid with the vaccinated and the unvaccinated, and I feel like it's working. That there's, the people just are so against people who aren't getting vaccinated. And I'm not talking about everyone. Like, I do have some friends who've got the vaccine and are very comfortable with my choice at the moment not to get the vaccine. And I want to be clear too.
Boo-hoo if they're not.
And I'll post the link in the description of a doctor who explained the vaccine to me. This was about a week ago. Before I watched that video, I was dead against the vaccine. I have now warmed to it, only because of his explanation. Now you're moving out of shot and I'll have to fix the whole video.
You don't have to change anything. This is perfect. All right? This is what you're talking about. The division that's being created.
Yeah, come back. You're already...
Not allowed, sorry, I didn't realise I wasn't allowed to move the chair.
Yeah, don't move the chair.
We have a plan, by the way.
But after listening to this doctor actually explain the science about it, it made me a lot more open to the vaccine. But what I think we need to discuss and what we need to challenge as a society is the choice. The government cannot make us have the vaccine, and we should, as a society, whether you've had the vaccine or not, you should stand up with everyone who chooses not to have the vaccine.
But it's not about... Are you finished?
Yeah.
Because it's not about whether you choose to not have the vaccine. It's about you choosing to have the vaccine. So it's both ways. So if you choose to have the vaccine, this is what I'm finding with some of my friends. If they choose to have the vaccine, then all of a sudden, I don't know what it is, but they turn into some beast.
Let's call it the jab instead of the vaccine.
Okay, the jab.
The jab.
I've got friends who've had the jab, and the minute they have the jab, all of a sudden they're just so anti people who haven't, and they weren't necessarily quite that bad before they had the jab. So there's that division you're talking about is very true.
And it's very real.
It's very real. It can get a bit nasty, especially with keyboard warriors on social media.
Yep.
And I've had to even pull myself back because I can get quite, what's the word?
Animated?
Passionate, animated,
Yeah, passionate.
fervent
Yeah.
about the whole thing. Because a lot of the information that I've received over many, many months, not many years, but at least since I've been checking out all this stuff and still checking it out and still finding out new stuff, is that I'm actually more wary. You're saying that you're a little bit more laid back about it. I'm actually more wary about the vaccine, about the the jab.
The jab.
Same thing, stab.
Yes.
As compared to even a week ago. The information that I've collected and stuff. And I'm not necessarily, I don't spend all my time sitting around in front of the computer Googling or YouTubing information. I don't do that anymore. I was, and it's just doing my head in. And the one thing I just want to say too about we're all trying to find truth. Okay, this is not about us being right or other people being wrong or them being right and us being. It's not about that for me anyway. It's about just what is the truth, what is going on. If you want to, and as a Christian, if you want to know the truth, then we need to be doing things in line with Scripture. That's how I'm seeing it out now.
Yeah.
My friend Esme put a meme up which basically said the New World Order is going to happen, regardless of what we discuss, what we think, whatever. It's going to happen. The Bible quite clearly says that there's going to be a New World Order. It is part of God's plan. Mm-hmm. It will happen. Mm-hmm. And I thought about it, and I thought, well, of course it's going to happen. We know that these things are happening. That's why I feel maybe Christians or people who are a little bit theologically minded, knowing a bit about what the Bible says, have a slight bit of an advantage into what's really going on.
Yeah. Because
the lay person is sort of like just all they see is what they see. So we have a bit of in-depth background into what is really going on. And Esme is right. The New World Order is going to happen. So do we sit down on our hands and just let it happen? When we see injustice happening and we do nothing. Mm-hmm. Okay, I also have seen a very good saying which says, if you sit back and do nothing when bad things happen, you're just as bad as the people that are doing it.
Yeah.
Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but...
So, are you saying in a roundabout way, or are you alluding to that if it's in God's plan that there's nothing to be done, that it's already in place?
I think that's what Esme was saying.
Is that what she was saying?
I think Esme was... Well, I'm not saying Esme was saying to not do anything. Mm-hmm. I think she was saying, just trust God.
Okay.
Because I know Esme, and I think that's what she was saying. We just need to trust God. He's got it all in his plan. This is what's going to happen, and I thoroughly agree with her. Mm. I say this to my wife a lot. We just need to trust that what's going to happen is part of the plan. We've got the book. We've read what it says.
Yeah.
We understand the process. And unfortunately, it's pretty much the same process of what we saw back in the 40s.
Yeah.
It's and I say unfortunately, but it's just that people with eyes to see and ears to hear can see it all happening.
I have a theory, a biblical theory, and it is based in Scripture somewhat. So I'll let you in that over my lifetime, especially as a Christian, even before I was a born again Christian, I was a Catholic, and even in the Catholic circles back in the 80s, there was still a thing that Jesus is coming back and the world's coming to an end. And do you remember what's his name, Barry Smith?
Mm. Yeah, Warning.
He used to go around in the 80s talking about.
I saw him.
And they back then, even my grandparents said, "Oh, we'll see Jesus come back in our lifetime." Now they're both dead. Mm. They didn't see Jesus come back. And in a way, I don't think they're wrong. The end times could have happened within this time frame of the last 30, 40 years, 50 years. Go back to the Holocaust. I'm sure the Christians back then thought that the end times were coming as well. World War One, World War Two, all of those things. That was,
Well, the Bible says rumours of wars and wars.
yeah, all of that sort of stuff.
So,
But when God says in the Bible, no one knows the day nor the hour that I'm going to come back. Only the Father knows that. And I believe that there's this, and my precedence is this, that date has not been set by God. And the reason why I say that is because if you go back to the Old Testament, where there was a man called Abraham, and Abraham was God's favoured person at the time, and God said to Abraham, I'm about to destroy two cities, Sodom and Gomorrah. And both of them were bad. And Abraham said, oh Lord, don't do that. There's so many people there. I've got relatives there. And God says, well, if you can find me 20 people or 50 people or 100 people, I think the first one was 100 people. If you can find me 100 people who say that I'm God, I won't destroy them. And he tried to find 100, couldn't find it, come back. And God said, if you find me 50 people, I won't destroy it. He goes, couldn't find 50 people. He comes back, if you can find 5 people. So God actually got down to 5 people. And Abraham couldn't find 5 people who would profess his... And so the cities was destroyed. But what I'm saying is that God will always make place for man to intervene on behalf of man. The saints, us, will be able to pray and hold off the end times for as long as we can, I believe. That's why I don't believe that the date has been set. I believe it's a period of time, not a specific point in time, if you know what I mean. God hasn't gone on the February 28th of, 2082, that's the end time. That date has not been set. I believe that it's going to get to that point where there's going to be a few Christians left almost, where God's saying, well, if you can find me some reasons not to destroy to come back, then I won't do it. And at the moment, I think there's enough, and has been for the last 30, 40, 50, 100 years, for that intervention between God and man to say, Lord, we're still here. We're still trying to... Now, okay, this may not affect a lot of people who are watching this today who don't believe in God or don't believe in the Bible or anything like that. But there is a time coming when the one world government will take over the world. Whether you believe in God or not, that's coming. And around that time, you'll see that there'll be chaos. And I think what's happening now, inadvertently and I'm being gracious, and I know you probably don't agree with me, because I believe our government is thinking they're doing the best for us. And the Australian people, for some reason, even go along with our government because they've trusted them for so long, I think, that they're breaking us down little bit by little bit, so that when it comes in, I never thought that our Australian government or our Australian people would have been so easily jumped into the one world government, but after this last year or last 2 years, but really this last year particularly, I just think where I believe that a lot of Australians will just jump straight into that pool and go, yep, we're on board.
I think there's a few points that I want to, as long as I can remember. But the thing is, Australians
just refer to the plan.
Australians have had it so well that that we are not used to a lot of. Well, let's face it. The last couple of years, we're not used to this.
No.
There are some people from other countries who are going, this is exactly what it was like when I lived in X place or X country or whatever. This is what it was like, and we came to Australia to get away from that. But as Australians, we're not really seeing that, because we've had it so good For so long,
Yes.
we've never really been like fully oppressed by our governments like some
No.
countries have. And so now, with all this stuff that's happening, with the mainstream media, with I'll call it fear mongering, because that's what it pretty much sounds like to me. With all this, every time you turn the radio on, it's this coronavirus, this amount dead, this many cases, all this sort of stuff, and it's like we've got to do this, and this is no joke, blah blah blah. And so people who have had it easy for so long are now in a situation where it's not easy, and they're looking to their government and the government is standing there saying, this is what we're going to do, this is the answer to the problem. And so people go, yes, thank you, you're taking us through this, and you're going to get us through it.
Yeah.
Where it's not always the case. A lot of us can see what's going on and where it's building to. And so, as far as I'm concerned, this is the drip philosophy of bringing. It's a full-on psychological way of getting people to do what you want them to do. They did it dare I say it? They did it in Germany.
Yep.
And that's how I hear this question quite a lot. How did all these Germans agree? Well, Hitler didn't come out one day and say, this is what we're going to do.
No.
This is the end game. People would have risen up. But it's drip. Little bit of lies amongst a lot of truth. Little bit of lies amongst a lot of truth. And then it's slowly. So that's my thoughts on that. In that particular thing. With the end time, there is going to be chaos, I agree with you. But there's also going to be a massive amount of peace and calm. When a certain person is going to come on the scene, amongst all the chaos, this certain charismatic person is going to bring the world into global peace and unity.
When that happens, we know
that's big trouble.
That's right. We as Christians who know what the Bible says, that's what we're looking out for. Global peace. As soon as that happens, we go, thank you, Jesus, because you're coming soon.
There's a guy that I listen to a bit on YouTube called Greg Laurie.
Yes,
Pastor Greg Laurie.
Yeah, he's great.
And
he's got a great end times perspective too. I love
his. And I love the way he talks. He's just a very personable. Is that the
I think so.
Very personable person. And I look at his little titles, and one of them was about like the end times, and he's a really good source in regards to what's going on. And I've lost my whole track of mine. Okay. In regards to the jab.
Yes.
There's been some really disturbing news that I've received during the week.
Okay.
I've checked it with a couple of people, and they've indicated that it's true. So
we haven't got any, it hasn't been reported somewhere.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff not reported.
I know that.
That's exactly what one of my memes was on Facebook. Was that you're not going to see this particular incident that I'm talking about, which I'll get into a little bit soon.
Yeah.
Is not reported.
Yeah.
We haven't heard about it. We've had to hear about it through the alternative media sources.
Okay.
And then of course we get ridiculed when we do that. So we have to go seeking to get truth and information somehow. But if you don't get it through the mainstream media, people scoff at you. Yeah. But there was a school down in New South Wales. They I'm not sure what the process was, whether they got permission from the parents or what, but they basically got the school. I don't know whether it was a class or the whole school. I think it was boys, and they took the school to I think there must have been a lot of them, because they took them to a park or a stadium or something and they were vaccinating these kids.
So like a vaccination centre.
Well, it wasn't a vaccination centre, but they turned it into one.
Okay,
It was
like what we.
I believe I was told. Yeah.
Pop-up jab centres.
Pop-up tent jab centre.
Yeah.
I think the word stadium was mentioned when I was told, but it could have been. But the point is, regardless of how many students were there, whether it was 20 or 2,000, three of those students didn't survive getting out of there. They actually died. One of them two just died, and one went into a coma and died soon after at the place. Apparently, the mother of one of the children was in her car outside waiting for her child. Meanwhile, ambulances are flying in and out everywhere, and she's sitting there. My understanding is that no one even advised her of what was going on. She found out sort of later when her son didn't come out. So you know, I mean, this is the stuff that you're not gonna. That I certainly. I don't watch the mainstream media, so it's hard for me to say what's on there and what's not because I don't watch it anymore.
Yeah. Well, I doubt that would have been if it's true, and I'm not doubting it, but definitely wouldn't have been on the mainstream media because that would have.
Well, it certainly goes against their.
Yeah, it's against their narrative.
Yeah, the jabs are safe.
Yeah.
Trust me.
And you know that the vaccine creators, the companies that create vaccines, have actually got an exemption from being sued.
They actually specifically, even though they're already exempt worldwide, apparently they specifically made sure that the Australian government signed a new thing saying that they were completely exempt. Now, why would you, if you could stand behind your product 100%, why would you need to do that?
Yeah.
Because you know there's going to be adverse side effects, and not only that, but deaths.
And the other thing about they talk about, okay, let's roll it back a little bit. Why are they asking us to get the jab? And the biggest thing that I'm saying is it's for the community, or it's for your health. You know, it's to. And if that's true, like if we're really pushing that line of health and community and stuff like that, why are we still able to buy cigarettes?
The two biggest killers of Australians and people all around the world, but in Australia, the two biggest killers is cigarettes and alcohol.
Yeah. So if it's all about health, if it's all about the good of the Australian people, why haven't we addressed those two biggest killers before now? Now, I'm more on board with people who are more consistent. Like, I hate people who.
Hate's a very powerful word.
That's true. We shouldn't use hate in this cast anyway.
Hate vaccine and the shit word. I got in trouble for that.
Did you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Profanity.
Yeah, and I didn't beep it out.
Well, I'm glad you didn't, because I don't believe it's necessarily profanity in the true sense of the word. For me, it's in the context.
It was definitely in context. And then the next time you said it, you did beep yourself out. So that was beeping good.
I smiled and had a laugh. We've been so serious this morning. Hey, what's the go? Too heavy. Heavy. It's hard not to talk about this stuff, though.
It is. Look, hypocrites, I suppose. And look, I'm not saying that I'm not I haven't been hypocritical in my life in some way, but if someone pulled me up on my hypocrisy, I definitely would change my ways. But, you know, what I don't like is the greenie type people who are all about saving, you know, they would protest against coal mining and all that sort of stuff, but go home and charge their phones and use power and watch TV and all that sort of stuff. Those people I have no respect for, because they're actually, if you really believed in that sort of stuff, you'd be living off the grid in nature, not using anything that would affect them. Are they not driving electric cars because electric cars are charged by coal-fired power stations? You know, riding a bike.
I think we got to be a little bit. I think that's a bit harsh. It's a bit harsh at the moment. You can't expect. Like I might not particularly like something, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to utilise the particular technology that I've got at the moment to live my life, while I can still recognise that something is not right, and say something about it. I don't have to completely change my life completely before I can then turn around and have the right to say that's wrong.
Okay.
Don't have to do that.
But then do you have the right to stop someone else from, I'm talking about protesters who chain themselves to trucks so that work can't be done.
Yeah, look,
you think that's acceptable?
No, I don't think that's acceptable. I don't think that's smart. But I see the strategy of what they're trying to do, and they're probably going over the top. But I also want to just leave a little bit of thing there for people who are quite fervent about what they believe, and they'll go to that extent. Why would they go to that extent? They really seriously, deeply believe that there's harm being done to the planet. They may believe in climate change. I don't believe in climate change, but I think it comes down to people having a right to express themselves. But I don't necessarily agree that just because you might be against coal mining something, you have to go home and turn all the electricity off.
Okay, so I'm glad that you brought that up, because why is the community so set on everyone getting the jab, okay, you might go to a restaurant and they go, oh, I'm sorry, have you got your passport to say that you've had the jab?
I've got mine.
It's all right. You've showed everyone your passport. Keep it in your pocket. And we may have to whip out a passport to say, yes, here's our jab, that we've had the new booster as well, because otherwise you'd be out of date for your jab.
That brings up a whole new topic.
But I heard this, and I wish my wife had have printed it off for me, but someone goes to a restaurant and they say, the restaurant person says, okay, so can we have a look at your passport and make sure that you're up to date? And they go, yeah, sure, but can I also look at your medical history, because I don't want to be served by someone who's, maybe got this hepatitis or this something like that. And then can you also get the chefs to pass me out all of their medical history as well, because I don't want anyone who's preparing my food to have particular things, and I want to know what they've got. And if that barman over there, I'd like to see all his history as well. So go both ways. Let's bring all of that stuff in. I think what my point was before is that you were saying that it's good for these environmentalists to be able to have their say because they feel passionate about it. These people who are passionate about everyone else getting the jab, what about all, like we were saying, let's roll it back to the smoking and the drinking. These are huge health concerns. Suicides in Australia outweigh any other death for men between the ages of 18 and 45. That's suicide.
And they outweigh the deaths from COVID.
Oh, like 10 to 1.
All the lockdowns have brought about people committing suicide.
So, that's right. And look, you may say, oh, but the suicides have come down and blah, blah, blah. They have come down a little bit over from the last couple of years, but still 400 people dying in each state of suicides per year. That's not good, considering, the COVID deaths are way lower than that. Yet all of the actions that we're putting in place to curb COVID is actually causing people to commit suicide. So don't roll this health jab. This is for the health of the community when you actually don't really care about the community.
No, you're right. There are far more things that are certainly when you look at the stats. Okay, the cigarettes, the amount of people that die from smoking related things. It's not just lung cancer. There's a myriad of different things that happen that cause you to die. Cancer, obviously, one of them. But did you hear about England?
Speak away. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tune in next time to find out what's happening in England. And thanks for watching. See you later.